Okay, everybody. You know what you need if you're an athlete? You need to drink water, okay? And we're all athletes in this world. We're all athletes. Gaming, that's a sport, right? That's what esports are, right? So you got to make sure you drink cold water to stay hydrated. And you know what I like to drink my delicious cold water out of? My beautiful coldest water bottle. Or coldest water bottle. Very good. This is actually a pretty good bottle. The sponsorship, of which I am sponsored, doesn't actually make me say that. I'm not even kidding. I don't have to say that. I genuinely believe this. I bring this thing with me everywhere. I use it constantly. It's a really good water bottle. One time I filled this up with water and ice, and I left it next to my bed all night. And I woke up the next morning, like 12 hours later, to take a drink of water, and it was still cold. The ice hadn't melted yet. It was still frosty cold. Really good water bottle. If you want to buy one, there's a link in the description, and you can get some money off of it. You get a little percentage off, and I get a little percentage of the purchase. So you should get one. Anyway, you know what you also need if you're an athlete? You need testosterone. Well, you don't need testosterone, but you need energy. Okay, you need to retain your energy. So, my lovely chat, how many of you have heard of NO-FAP? How many of you have heard the argument from MGTOW types or Incels that engage in the NO-FAP thing? How many times have you heard the rumor, the myth, that not jacking off or not coming, not just spurting your load everywhere, as I like to do every single day, actually helps you retain energy, making you more athletic or just generally more powerful? Turns out that's not true. Found out about this the other day. I used to genuinely believe that jacking off and nutting made you more tired or kind of got rid of your energy or testosterone or made you perform more poorly when it came to athletic events. Turns out that's not true. It's actually not true. As a matter of fact, it turns out that you actually are more likely to perform better in sports from jacking off, because the science behind it is basically that when you jack off, when you nut, your body releases different endorphins and hormones that increase your sex drive and your aggression even after you nut, and it actually puts you into more of a position to engage in sports. Now, don't get me wrong, my lovely people. If you have a serious porn or masturbation addiction, and it's actually interfering with your life, you gotta chill, okay? You need to take a break, find something to focus on that makes you happy, because you're probably jacking off too much. A good way to know that you're jacking it too much, you're just spurting your fucking baby gravy all over the place too damn much, is when your dick starts to feel raw, okay? If you jack off so much in one day that it hurts or feels uncomfortable when you jack off, like next time, you're doing it too much, take a break, okay? However, we're not talking about basic healthy living practices when it comes to, releasing the semen. You know what I mean? We're talking about a cult. An online cult started mostly by incels that unironically believe that your jizz contains energy and power. And when you come, you are letting go of that energy and power, and it's weakening you. It's pretty interesting. Now, I don't know what this video is. It came up in my recommended, and it said, watch this if you have an urge. NO-FAP. It's by a YouTube channel called Pinnacle of Man, which is just an absolutely amazing title. God damn. Yeah, this is Australian for motherfuckers who don't have sex. Let's make that very clear, all right? So, I don't know what I watched that made Pinnacle of Man pop up in my recommended, but let's get right into it, okay? I'm excited. Hit me up. Wait, is this like a TED Talk or something? I don't know. Oh, no. Wait. Is this guy one of those channels that does the, like, the picking up people on, like, picking up women on the street thing? Like the completely fake videos where he's like, hey, if I flip this quarter and it lands on heads, then you gotta kiss me. Flips the quarter. Oh, it landed on tails. Well, I'm gonna kiss you anyway. Have you seen those videos? Like the fucking kiss prank videos that are clearly like paid actors doing it? Those videos make me cringe. This video is very loud.
Hey man, how's it going? So, if you're watching this video...
Now it's quiet.
Not too good or whatever, but maybe you have some tabs open right now. Look, I know the video says this is relapse guaranteed proof, but of course I can't control you through the screen. I can't, no. Yeah, man, I just want to talk to you for a couple minutes, and I just want you to know that...
I'm gonna be honest, I feel a little uncomfortable. I feel like he's kind of in my face right now. It's like, I feel like he's gotten down, and he's like gotten right up in my face, and he's just like, hey, I know you got some tabs open right now, you know? You thinking you might relapse? I know you got your hand on your dick. You got that Rule 34 / Resident Evil 8 Lady Dimitrescu page open. You're trying to jack off to some big vampire mommy milkies. Listen, we got to help you out here, okay? I'm going to help you keep yourself from relapsing, okay?
At the end, I'm not going to try to convince you to not watch porn, you know? I'm not going to try to convince you to do that. Just want you to listen to me, watch the whole video, do what I say. And
help me out.
If you still want to watch porn after this is over, feel free, man. Like,
all right, tell you what. If this guy's advice doesn't work, I am rock solid right now. My hand is on my dick, okay? This man is my last chance of not ejecting my load and losing all of my power, all of my gains, okay? I'm at the verge right now with the NO-FAP stuff. I'm at the verge of being able to fly. I'm at the verge of being able to, like, create alternate realities with my mind. I'm so fucking close. I'm so goddamn close. My hand's on my dick, and I'm rock solid right now. And this man is all that's standing between me and shooting the load. Help me out.
You know, you're just going to listen to me and see what I have to say and cool, go on with your life. So the first thing I want to say to you is the fact that you're watching this video.
He does have a good jawline, I got to say. Not as good as my jawline, but still pretty good jawline. I can respect it.
While you have an urge, like, you're already taking action towards not watching it. You see what I mean by that? You're stepping forth into the guy you want to become by doing this. So let's look objectively what's going to happen if you do and do not go forward and watch porn, okay? First thing I want you to know is that, like...
This really does feel like an AA meeting, you know what I mean? Like or not an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. What's the, it's like a rehab meeting. Like, listen, I know you've got that heroin needle. It's basically in your vein. You've got the belt around your forearm, okay? You're ready to inject that heroin into your veins, but you stopped. And you're watching this video because you know you want to stop. You're looking for any reason not to do it, okay? I'm going to help you out, right? Listen, okay, porn addiction's real, okay? And it can be detrimental, and it can hurt you pretty badly, but come on, okay? We're talking about busting a load here, and I'm getting the feeling this video isn't oriented to people who have porn addictions. This video is oriented at people that are, like, not getting women and think that not jacking off will help them with that. It won't, okay? In most cases, refusing to jack off probably isn't going to help you get women, all right? That's not how it works. Is there NO-FAP for women? Well, maybe. There's women who are sex addicts.
This is completely normal, obviously. Maybe you're frustrated because it's like, why do I keep on getting these urges? Why won't they go away, right? Have you ever heard of the story about the guy who...
Well, you're getting the urge to jack off because you're horny. Sometimes that happens. Listen, I've been there, okay, chat? I've been there. Sometimes I'm walking around and my hand brushes against my dick and then I get a chub and I'm like, well, you know, it's already there. I might as well jack off. Why not? It happens to me all the time.
Felt anxious and then he became anxious that he was anxious that he was anxious that he was anxious, and I would just stack, right? So the first thing I want you to recognize is that you have an urge. This is a healthy thing.
True.
Like, it's a good thing that you have an urge, right? It's a good thing. You're a healthy young man. You're not gonna...
This is really awkward. I feel like this is a dad trying to... like, have the talk with his son or something.
Gonna have urges in the future. They're eventually gonna stop. And you're like, man, I don't get horny anymore. You're gonna be that old guy who doesn't like these massive urges. At least let's hope so, right? Second thing, let's look at this, right? So you have two options, right? Now, Our life is comprised of, I want to say billions, but millions of little daily decisions we have. Okay. Now, on the surface, these little decisions don't seem like much. Do I go to the gym this morning or not? Do I take a cold shower? Do I text this girl?
Wait, what?
Do I eat this?
Hold on, okay? If you have an option to take a cold shower or a hot shower and you don't like cold showers, the answer is to not take a shower, okay, or not take a cold shower, okay? Cold showers, I believe, are actually bad for you. Isn't there like evidence that obviously a shower that's too hot is bad for you in a variety of ways, but I'm pretty sure cold showers are actually bad for you. Aren't they? I read something or heard something recently about they're good for your skin and hair. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But I thought I read something recently about how cold showers are bad for you. I don't know.
Burger, or do I eat the salad? Do I watch porn or not watch porn? Now, on the surface, it doesn't seem like a big deal, does it? Not at all. Like, okay, well, I watched porn this one time. And at the same time, it is the biggest, most important thing in this moment. This present moment, as you're listening to the words I'm saying. Every little action you take is simultaneously not important and everything.
Everything. He's staring into my soul right now. I can see into his soul. I can't tell if he's trying to look into mine or he's letting me look into his. I can't tell. This is incoherent? Well, it's meant to be. This guy's... So, to be fair, some of the... I mean, this is what, like 2 years of Unbusted Nuts does to you, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's weird because these kind of like self-help, like men's rights, pickup artist type gurus that push the NO-FAP stuff, they're so close to being right in some ways, There are ways... Maybe this is a little bit sex negative of me, but I'm pretty confident in this position. There are unironically ways in which watching porn can harm your outlook on life as a dude, typically. Generally, it's dudes. Women get affected by this as well, but dudes. Like, how many guys in chat had their understanding of sex and relationships molded in some negative ways because of the porn that they watch? Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of types of porn that don't introduce sex to people in this negative way. But, like, there are ways in which that can be detrimental. But if you're mature enough to realize that this isn't real, this isn't what real relationships are like, this isn't what sex is generally like in the real world. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. You may have sexual experiences that are very much like what happens in porn. Maybe. But... if you are like some 15, 16, 17, you're getting to the age where you might start fucking. You're like a teenage dude, right? And you're getting close to fucking. And all of your experience with anything sex related comes from porn. And you're American, especially, because we don't have very good sex ed in America. I didn't get any sex ed classes. I can assure you that. I didn't get the talk, and I didn't get any sex ed classes. Everything that I learned about sex came from porn and experience. All right? So there are ways in which your outlook could be shaped by that in some negative ways. And you have to understand that, like, that porn video that you watched, your first experience or most experiences you have with sex aren't going to be like that. And if you find that porn is starting to affect your outlook on the world as well, if you're going into situations believing that, like, oh, wow, this girl looked at me the same way this girl in this porn video looked at this dude, maybe she wants to fuck, then you're probably going to have some problems. It's going to affect your outlook. Porn, by the way, I hear also has a lot of effect on the way that people practice sex as well, and as well as their self-esteem. I think I read like a story fairly recently. I saw like an article on Twitter someone had shared, so I clicked on it and I read it. There's like a lot of dudes who unironically start to get like really, really, what's the word for it? Their self-esteem gets affected because like a lot of porn star dudes have massive big old cocks, and maybe they have like an average size cock or a little below average size dick. And then that starts to affect their self-esteem. Then of course there's stuff like, Oh, God. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little story, okay? The girl I lost my virginity to was 19, or no, she was 20, and I was 18. And I lost my virginity in her car in the parking lot of this big church that she worked at, right? And at that point, I was already old enough to realize real life is not like porn. It's not. Real life is not like porn. And that's what made this experience a little bit more cringy for me, because when I was with this girl, she moaned exactly like a porn star girl would. You know the really cringy girl porn moan that they do? You know that one? The yeah, like type thing? I'm sorry, that's gonna get clipped now. You know that one? That's what she fucking did. The yeah type thing. Yeah, that's what she did. And I know it wasn't natural for her. Lonnie hates when I do that. She hates it so much. I know that wasn't what she actually wanted to do. I guarantee she was like, she probably saw some porn or something, saw it's how women in porn moaned, and then like, I don't know, that's what she thought she was supposed to do. So this affects women as well. Definitely affects women. Clip it. All right, let's continue. Oh, no, wait. I was going to finish this right. So there are ways in which watching porn can definitely affect people negatively, but I don't think it's altogether like a bad thing that should be discouraged to the degree that people like this do if you don't have a problem. Like, listen, guys, I think in many ways the mainstream porn industry is pretty bad. That's one of the big reasons that I advocate so much, and you've seen it. I advocate so much for self-made, like individual content creators that do sex work, right? So people that have like OnlyFans or that do like cam stuff, like on cam websites or whatever. Stuff like that, I think, is probably much more, one, ethical, and just much healthier to consume than like mainstream studio-produced porn, right? If I'm being honest, like, were it more economically viable, I would probably only ever consume porn that came from like self-made like sex workers that own their own business, essentially, because they are producing content on their own. Maybe they like have someone that takes like pictures for them or does like camera work. I don't fucking know how it works, right? But like stuff like that is probably much better. But if you're, there's ways that mainstream porn can affect you negatively, but I don't think that's what this guy's talking about. Make porn of you and Lonnie? Stop it. All right? No more horny. Stop it. We're learning how to not be horny, okay? Or not to jack off.
You see how that works? So you could go on to watch porn. You could go on to look for the videos that you like, find the tabs, go through the process, do the deal, and then how are you going to feel after? You're going to start all over again? Okay. That's an option, man. You could do that. Or, Viktor Frankl, prominent psychologist. So this guy survived the Holocaust, right? He was in the Holocaust and he survived it. And he said basically between every stimulus or basically emotion and response or basically every action, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response or our action. In our action lies our growth and our freedom. So yes, this moment of you relapsing or not doesn't seem like a big deal on the surface, but it is absolutely everything. Okay? Now what I want.
I'm sorry. Listen, guys, I don't think there's anything immoral about what he just did. I just think it's fucking hilarious. The stream's muted? No, it's not. The people in chat would probably be saying something like more if it was muted. Like nothing that he's saying here is like immoral. I'm not like upset by it or triggered or whatever, but I feel like it's a little funny. I do feel like it's a little funny that in a discussion about the decision to relapse to watching porn, this guy is bringing up quotes from a psychologist who survived the Holocaust. This isn't something I ever expected to cross over. You know, this isn't a crossover event I ever expected to happen, you know? It's just kind of weird.
I want you to recognize is that you going out to go watch porn, it's not because you're horny or aroused. It is not. Right?
Are you sure about that?
You either want connection or you're avoiding some boredom or some lack of purpose in your life. So here's what I want you to do.
Okay. That is not the case. In 99.9% of the time, that's not the case, okay? Maybe this is just me. I can't know the mind of everybody who watches me, but, or everyone in the world, you know, for the most part. I jack off when I'm horny. Sometimes when I'm bored, and I just need to pass the time, but usually when I'm horny. Well, generally I'd have sex, but still, like if I'm tired or something and I don't feel like I'm up for that, then I jack off, right? But like, I don't think I've ever once watched porn because I needed like connection. I'm sure there's people that do that, but it's kind of weird to be like, oh yeah, you're not doing it because you're horny. You're doing it because you want a connection. No, the horny part is definitely there. That's definitely a big part. That's a significant part of it. I promise you.
Just promise me you'll do this simple exercise, and after you're done, after everything you do, I say, you are still wanting to watch porn, you have my permission. Go
All right.
Have the best
porn
session of your life.
I will.
Go ahead.
I am. Doing it right now.
But first, do this. I want you to step outside. Just take a deep breath of fresh air. Nice and slow.
Pop my jaw.
And I want you to reach out on the phone and just talk to one person for 5 minutes. You don't have to tell them you're trying to stop porn, that you have an urge. Just talk to someone for 5 minutes. Anyone. Mother, father, brother, sister. Not your ex. Talk to someone. Okay? And then play the tape out. If I watch porn, I'll feel this and I'll do this. If I don't, I'll do this, I'll do that. And after that 10 to 15 minutes is up, if you still have an urge, just do it, man. Seriously, go ahead. But I'm going to bet it's gone. You'll feel good. You'll feel okay. And there will only be a slight feeling of accomplishment there. But that slight feeling of accomplishment versus that slight feeling of shame stacked repeatedly day after day after day is like a brick making the person you want to become. A house of shame or a house of gratitude, purpose, meaning, peacefulness at the end of your life.
Four hidden reasons for your urges, NO-FAP. Damn, this guy's got a whole NO-FAP, like, Library of Alexandria type thing going on here. This is like a fucking, holy shit. Is your porn habit an addiction? Simple test. Listen, if you've got a porn addiction, you do need to get that. You need to get that taken care of. Why women actually leave you. Daddy issues revealed. Kill all neediness with women. 5 unique methods. Make her do this. And it's like the woman is like wrapped around his leg and he's like dragging her down the hall. One thing women want, but will never tell you. Oh, shit. Ghost her now if she says any of these 5 phrases. Semen retention and attraction. 3 scientific reasons it gets you laid. Oh, shit. All right, we're learning.
How you feeling, Pinnacle person? So in this video, you're going to get 3 scientific, did somebody say science? Yeah, I said science. So you can be in the video. Okay, yeah. Long time no see, let's go. So you're going to get 3 scientific reasons why holding in your gentleman's relish, your nizzle drizzle, daddy sauce, your cuckoo spit,
cock snot, baby gravy,
your love liquor,
love liquor?
onward Christian soldiers,
that was a bad one.
Population paste, your
that's a good one.
white light.
That's a good one.
Will lead you to become irresistible around women and double your confidence and productivity as a man.
Hold on, Lonnie, I'm curious. Do you get more attracted to me when I've got more semen contained in my balls? Can you like sense that Whenever I come into the room and I sit down next to you, and are you like, do you get like a feeling? It's like, I sense. I can sense. He hasn't nutted in like 2 days. He's become so much more attractive. That video is my response. What's this video?
Masturbate all day long.
True! Now I lost that video that I was responding to. Fuck, how am I going to find it again? Oh wait, it's open up in Opera GX. Nice. Okay, we're good.
So let's jump in. Okay, by the way, I look more like a MIB kind of guy than an actual science Josh, but we're doing with what we have because my other glasses, I don't know what they are. These are actually just sunglasses, but you get the point. The first one.
Okay, I want to make it very clear right now. I don't believe that there's any overwhelming scientific consensus that semen retention actually does anything to make you more attractive, increase any of the factors that would make you more attractive, unless you have a porn or masturbation addiction that's causing you to change your lifestyle, thus causing you to behave in ways that make you less likely to meet women or potential partners. Like, there's nothing about having more, like, cum inside of you that makes you more attractive, unless you're a dude who is full of cum, and then there's, like, other dudes around that want to fuck. That does work. But broadly speaking, I don't think there's anything about being a dude having more cum in your body that makes you more attractive to women, typically speaking. In most cases, I don't believe there's any science to support that. But if you're home all day jacking off and watching porn, chances are that's probably hurting you because you're not going out and you're not meeting anybody.
You guys like my drawing, by the way? It's like a dude not trying to... All right, so the first scientific way that's holding in your semen, your man chowder, is going to help you with attraction with women, is your increase testosterone.
That has not been scientifically verified by anything I've seen. Maybe he's got something else to show me. From my understanding, jacking off actually increases your testosterone. I'm pretty sure it's the case. Here, I'm actually going to not show it on screen when I look it up, because I'm not sure if, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Oh, so from Medical News Today, this is the first thing that comes up. Accept, sure. What to know about masturbation and testosterone, short and long-term effects. Well, here's their abstract, I think. Many people believe that masturbation affects a man's testosterone levels, but this is not necessarily true. Masturbation does not seem to have any long-lasting effects on testosterone levels. However, masturbation may have short-term effects on the levels of this testosterone. It also affects other functions, such as sex drive. Masturbation does not typically pose a threat to any other aspects of a person's physical health. Short-term and long-term effects. Researchers are interested in both the short-term and long-term effects of masturbation on testosterone levels. However, the research to date is limited and somewhat conflicting. One reason for this is that it's difficult for scientists in a laboratory to recreate an environment in which people would typically masturbate. Kind of true, you know? Most people don't really like jacking off inside of a laboratory with people watching. One study used a United States sex club to evaluate changes in testosterone levels in response to sexual stimuli in a real-world setting. The researchers compared the salivary testosterone levels in men who participated in sexual activity with those in men who only observed. While testosterone levels increased in all the men who visited the sex club, the increase was significantly higher in those who participated. Huh. An earlier study from 1992 assessed the effects of sexual activity on testosterone levels in both men and women. The researchers measured testosterone levels before and after intercourse and also on days when there was no sex. In both men and women, testosterone levels were highest after intercourse, so after coming. Levels were lower before sex and on days with no intercourse. These results suggest that sexual activity influences testosterone rather than testosterone influencing sexual activity. In a 2007 study in rats, so this is in rats, don't know how much that affects humans, researchers found the number of estrogen receptors was higher 24 hours after ejaculation or mating to sexual satiety? Satiety? It's just like not doing it. Estrogen receptors help the body use estrogen. So this is like for women, it seems. A different rat study from the same year found the number of androgen receptors which helped the body use testosterone, was lower 24 hours after ejaculation or sexual satiety. So it seems like the only study that they brought up in which sex and jacking off didn't increase your testosterone was another rat study. And I think we know how manosphere types like to reference I think we know how manosphere types like to reference studies done on animals and like to extrapolate them to humans, like with the alpha male stuff that came from that study on wolves, which, by the way, I should remind you all of this. The author of that study came out and said, oh yeah, by the way, not only is this study about alpha and beta males not even accurate to wolves, as we found out, it's certainly not applicable. Even if it was, it wouldn't be applicable to humans.
Right? Now, Josh and I made a video right here a while back talking about how much it increases after 7 days of NO-FAP, of holding in your semen, which is over 123 or 147%, somewhere around that range. And now, why does this increase your attraction with women? Well,
wait, what? Who did he cite there?
Somewhere around that range. And now, why does this increase your attraction with women? Well, let me tell you something. When you are able to increase your testosterone, what happens essentially is that you have more motivation to really go after that woman. If you're constantly wasting your nut butter on your computer screen, when you see that girl initially, you're not going to...
What? When... I don't think I've ever felt like I don't want to pursue someone I'm interested in after jacking off or because I jack off. I don't even know. Why is he breathing like that? Well, we just watched last video. The reason why he's breathing so heavily is this man has like 10 years of unbusted nuts sort of undulating inside of his ball sack. So he's constantly, despite the sheer amount of supernatural power that he's been gifted from not jacking off, at the same time, though, you have to remember, that's still a lot of pressure that's being put on him, right? He's constantly tempted to give up this unbelievable power that he's been given. So... just like in the last video, when he gave his advice on how not to jack off, you have to go outside and you go. So that's what he's doing right there. He's doing the breathing exercise because he's constantly fighting the urge to nut. And he doesn't want to give up his powers.
Have the desired motivation and dopamine, the incentive molecule, to walk up to her, to actually have a conversation, to get laid. Because you're getting laid with a computer. You know, your brain's like, we could just go home and just, release tonight on the computer and not a big deal, right? So
I'm sorry, but like that's never once happened to me. If I'm interested in smashing, then I'm gonna try to smash. Only if it's like definitely not an option to smash am I gonna resort to porn or jacking off. I'll take the smash over the jacking off any fucking day.
If you are able to hold up that testosterone and build it up over time, it increases your It increases your motivation tenfold. That when you see that girl, your penis is like an arrow, just pulls you forward toward her, and you cannot help yourself but approach her and go ahead and start talking to her. So
I know it's a bit, but the putting on the glasses upside down is a little silly. It's a nice little quirky thing, you know what I mean?
Increases the amount of approaching you do, and it decreases your approach anxiety. Okay, that's number one. Josh, number two. So the second reason why semen retention will increase your attraction dramatically is more of a...
Hold on. That's right. If you're more horny, chances are you're probably going to be more anxious to do that approach, which is going to probably affect you. Do you want to know? My lovely people, I would like to bet that most people, they would jack off and be like, okay, I'm not mega horny right now, so I can probably have a conversation with this woman and not be constantly horny the whole time, and maybe, just maybe, possibly, get to know her and not come off as a douchebag who's just trying to get into her pants and not be a creep. Maybe it's actually better to jack off before you talk to a girl, because then you're not clearly just doing it because you want to smash. Then you might do things like, I don't know, ask her what she's into, talk about stuff you're mutually interested in, talk about stuff she's interested in, do things that women like to do if you want to befriend them. And typically befriending a woman is the best thing to do if you're interested in her and actually want to do something. Obviously there's contexts in which this isn't the case, but most of the time, generally, you want to become friends with the woman before you end up smashing. Typically, the woman wants you to be friends before she even considers letting you smash, you know? Like, it's like the bird. Wait, it's just like the bird, you know? Listen, this bird would probably be way more successful if he just jacked off before approaching Becky. You know what I mean? Becky, let me smash. You guys know the bird?
No, Ron. Go find Becky.
You want some fuck?
No, Ron. I don't want some
I
fun.
got your blue. Hey girl.
Ron, your tail is small.
What? Swiggity sweetie. You want yellow. She doesn't want yellow. Blue and yellow. No.
Ron, I'm leaving.
What? No. Wait, let me smell.
Beautiful video. Genius video. Now, the important thing is, if that bird just rubbed one out before trying to get with Becky, then maybe he would have been accepted. Just maybe.
Psychological reason. Look, you're no longer going to put that kitty on a pedestal, right? When you do semen retention, you practice
God.
this, you are basically saying to yourself, I don't need to cater to these immediate pleasures. Let me give you a prime example in David Data's
You might be kind of a douchebag if you say that, if you ever have said unironically the term, "Don't put that pussy on a pedestal."
book.
A good woman is a source of inspiration and attraction into the world of a man.
Booba.
He must never forget, however, that neither the world nor his woman
No,
is the purpose
Booba.
of his existence. His practice is always to feel
Booty.
for women in the world, without suppression or disdain
No
into
booty.
their source or very nature. A man's attraction to women must be converted from attraction
No
to
booty
women
or booba
into
there.
attraction through women. In your worship of women, never forget that they die. In your enjoyment of pleasure and delight, never forget that your sensations and feelings are fleeting, and never absolutely enough. Women can attract you, heal you, and inspire your gifts, but they will never satisfy you absolutely. Never. And you know this. This is why women are so frustrating to you. Their promise attracts you, in one way or another, perhaps many times a day. And yet, throughout your life, you have learned and will continue to learn that they cannot make good on the promise. If you have ever gotten the woman you've wanted, you know that it is never as good as you hoped for, at least not for very long. And yet, you continue to be attracted, over and over and over, to the same woman or to different women. It's all the same thing. You are deceived by the mirage of your own desire. You are deluded by your own excitement. Women are not to blame. They are to be cherished.
Basically, what David's saying is that when you could see the mirage of the pleasure a woman gives you and recognize that it's fleeting, that it's not
The mirage, the fleeting mirage of women. I think the issue here is that, like, I think these guys just don't realize that women are people. Like, maybe this is like the big lib shit take here, but like, guys, women are people. Treat them like people. Like, even in the context in which they're telling you not to, like, put pussy on his pedestal or whatever, they still aren't getting it through their heads. They're, like, looking at it wrong still, that, like, no, women are just people. You may be attracted to them. You may want them. That doesn't make them an object that you were trying to acquire. It's very much like if you were pursuing a friendship with somebody. Let's say you thought someone was really cool and you want to be friends with them. Think about it like that. It's better to think about it like that. That's typically how I view, like, dating and women and stuff like that, is like, it's not an object that you're trying to obtain. It's more like a friendship that you're trying to obtain. Think about how you would want to become friends with somebody. Imagine a dude who you're not even attracted to. You're not attracted to this dude, or whatever gender you're not attracted to, right? Unless you're pansexual, in which case you can't. A person you're not attracted to, okay? You think they're pretty cool. You just want to be friends. Completely platonic friends. How would you pursue a friendship with that person? Think of the woman you're attracted to. Put that woman into the place of where that platonic friend that you want to get would be. You're just trying to make a friend. Think about it like that. It's going to help you a lot, I promise you.
everlasting. She loses power over you and you no longer have neediness, which means you are super attractive to her. All right, Josh, take number 3. All right, so number 3 is your polarity increase. Now, in conjunction with the first point, when your testosterone is increasing, what that essentially does is it increases your masculine traits. Now, some of these traits are a deeper voice. It is more slow.
So we already talked about how we found that testosterone does not drop from jacking off. In fact, at least in the short term, it goes up after jacking off or having sex or whatever. Are you debating upper echelon gamers today? No. We're just covering his video. We've already talked about that, right? But I don't think lack of testosterone actually affects your voice. I think someone did. I watched a video on this. You know you know how the right likes to call people soy boys? There ended up being like a study or something done on this where they found that like dudes who would like generally consider soy boys, like more left-leaning dudes who tend to behave in like less overtly masculine ways, they did like a test, like blood tests on them, and ended up finding that they have more testosterone in their blood than dudes who are like manosphere types, like right-wing sort of gym bros, you know what I mean? More T affects the voice, makes sense. If less, would IDK? It affects it very smaller in small ways, but like the way your voice is affected, you can actively change your voice. You'll notice like a lot of trans dudes don't actually have to do that much voice training to make their voice deeper. A lot of that is because testosterone does have a very small but noticeable effect on lowering the voice. That's a thing that can happen. But one thing to point out is that you don't need to stop jacking off to make your voice deeper. It doesn't. That's not how it works. You don't. We already found that like jacking off makes your testosterone go up. Do you feel like your voice is deeper after you jack off? It doesn't really affect you that much because the problem is, the problem is the average cis dude, their body is already in most cases being pumped full of testosterone constantly. A lot of the time, no matter what you're doing, sleeping, awake, eating, having sex, jacking off, playing a video game, watching a YouTube video, walking down the street, exercising, whatever you're doing, the cis dudes typically they have a lot of testosterone constantly going through them. However, when it comes to trans dudes, for most of their life, in most cases, they haven't actually been having tons of testosterone being pumped through their bodies. They've had, a little bit. I believe, like females, like a trans dude before transitioning, when they identified as a woman, I'm pretty sure they have testosterone, like a fair amount of it in their body. Nowhere near as much as dudes have, like cis dudes have, but there's still some there. But when you start introducing unusually large amounts of testosterone to a body that's not used to that, then it's going to have a much bigger effect than like for a cis dude who's used to having a lot of testosterone pushed through their body and constantly being produced, and then having a little bit extra added on to that. It's not going to affect you that much. Everybody produces testosterone to a degree, some more than others.
And fluid movements, right? More controlled. You're more dominant. You go after what you want more. Now, these are all traits of a masculine man, right? The dominance, the aggression, the deep voice, all of these things. Being on your purpose more. And when your testosterone is increasing, it also increases your sense of polarity. Now, you don't have to have an increase in testosterone to have an increase in polarity, and vice versa. But they will help each other. You can also have a slower control.
How does this explain the phenomenon of femboys? You guys know the femboy phenomenon? I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on stream before. You'd think that most of the time it's gay dudes and trans women and whatnot that go after femboys, but believe it or not, it like cis women, like straight cis women, love femboys. Okay, maybe it's just Twitter. But I've been seeing a lot of cis women horny posting about femboys a lot more recently, okay? And I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, perhaps, there's something there. Have you seen the Astaflo femboy pic that broke Twitter due to the sheer size of his cock? I think I heard about that. I think I heard like a meme that like his cock went down to his knee or something. Hold on, I gotta look it up, all right? For research. Astolfo femboy. Okay, I can't find it. I'm just seeing a lot of. Well, that's definitely not it. Where does anyone have a link? Does anyone have a link? Okay, you found it? All right, let's see. Tweet is unavailable. What? No. What? The holy nut, the tweet's unavailable. Somebody else find it? Okay, is this it? Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty big dick. Yeah, it's kind of thin, you know. But I'm gonna rate the cock on stream. Okay, so length is pretty good. We all know the length is pretty good. The thickness, though, it could be better in the thickness department. It could be. But overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. That's a nice cock. That's a good cock, I'd say. That's a 9 out of 10. Hold on, where's that one meme? What's that? Hold on. I'll give it like a soft 9, you know? Soft 9.
Okay, let's see what we're working with. Whoa. Nice cock. Thick, but not too flaccid. Perfect length. A nice 80-degree angle. Could trim the hairs a bit, but we'll work on it. Yep. I'd say that's a pretty good cock. I rate it 10. 8.5 out of 10. Good job, kiddo.
All right. Well, we've derailed this We've derailed this video far too much. Okay. We started at cock check stream. We started at something that made some kind of sense, and now we've gotten to the cock rating portion of the stream. So, you know, God help me. All right. I love all of you very much. You know that, right? I love you all. Buy one of these water bottles. They're really good. You should get one. Look at it. Look how pretty it is. Look, it's got my name on it. Look, Xander Hall, because I'm sponsored. Link in the description. Buy yourself a water bottle, or you're cringe and unbased.